Hi, everyone. I sure am loving joining with you to do these lessons. They're just terrific and such a help to all of us. So here we are at lesson 73, I Will There Be Light. Now, this does not mean I'm going to use willpower or I'm going to be willful or something like that. To say, I will there be light, says this is what I want, this is what I choose, this is what I desire. It's just that to say what I want for there to be is light is a little awkward. So in keeping with the rhythm that we often find in this work, I will there be light is much more graceful. But just be clear about what it means. It's like it's my choice that there be love and light in the world. This, by the way, is actually the will that you share with God. And this will is not at all the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which, as it says, darkness and nothingness arise. Remember, the idle wishes are the idea that perhaps I can play God. I can substitute my own sense of things for all that is. A really crazy idea, but one that we all pursue. Now, it says the reason why they have no power is because they are unshared. It's just all about me. The will of God and our real will has all the power in the world in it, or not just in the world, it just has all power in it because it's about jointly all of us. In other words, it's shared. Our idle wishes are not shared. They're just always the story about me. Now, it makes this point. Those thoughts that tend to dominate our experience on a daily basis are not idle in the sense that they show up as the world. We've talked many times about the fact that the thoughts that are in our minds show up as our three-dimensional world. That this is a darkened world. This is a world of suffering because the thoughts that are being reflected as our world are meaningless. Ego thoughts are essentially meaningless. They have no substance to them. Love and all of its derivatives are what have substance. It's what allows something to be created. And then it makes this great statement, the ego, which is our collection of idle wishes about wishing to be the most important thing in the universe and all about being separate, and grievances about which we have spoken a great deal, are partners that together make the world we see. The wishes to replace God and set up our own little kingdom someplace gives rise to the whole possibility, and the grievances maintain it. Remember, the ego requires conflict as its food. And then it reminds us that the forms, the figures, everything that makes up our physical world are the middlemen. They're the brokers. They're the intermediaries that allow us to trade our attacks and our guilt back and forth. That's what traders do. They get from one and sell to another. So the grievances trade back and forth guilt, making us feel worse, and the world gets darker. And in this awful exchange, our will to love and to cherish seems to be lost. It hasn't been lost, but we need to see again that what we've created is not the joint will of Father and Son, or creation or created. It cannot possibly be the will of love itself to create something that's disastrous and miserable and people kill each other and everything else. Clearly, that is not the will of God or of us. And so we're going to try again to see that love and compassion and happiness is in fact our will. And we're going to attempt to experience this world that is in accord with our will, the one that has light in it. Remember, light and love and understanding and compassion, all those things mean the same thing. So this light-filled world is going to be much better than what we have going on now because it does not oppose the will of God. It says it's not yet heaven because we're still dealing in the world of form, but the darkness and the guilt can be gone when my idle wishes are withdrawn. Light reflects our will. It's what's in us. And the world always reflects what's in us. So if we see a darkened, miserable, suffering world, that reflects and represents the grievances, the guilt, the pain that's within us, and it's showing up out there. When I decide it is absolutely my will to love and to help others feel safe and cared for and valuable and beloved, that increasing light in my own mind is reflected in my daily world. So the more I hold on to grievances, the darker my world gets. The more I release them, the more the light can shine from me. Now, we need to be really clear that the grievances can't hold you back because you don't actually really want them. You just didn't know you had other options. You don't want to suffer. You don't want to be miserable. You don't want to starve. You don't want torture to happen to you or to someone else. And it says just let go of the ridiculous ego arguments that somehow this is really cool. It's not cool at all. And at some point you realize this and you think, suffering cannot be happiness. And happiness is what I want. Our will is to love and to be kind. And salvation is heading in that direction. And so we're going to head in the direction that is actually the one we want to take. It's the journey we want to take. Our blessing is on what we're doing today. And we will succeed if we can remember that we really do want to find our way home for ourselves and for everyone else. We want to accept this plan because we share it. Our will, God's will, are the same thing. And more than anything else, I want to be free to remember what it is I really am and what it is I really desire. And the ego can't get in your way once you realize my will is free. Nothing prevails against it. I want to arise to this truth in me and let love take its rightful place in my life. You see, once you decide to do this, nothing can get in your way. So now we're going to be confident that we're going to find what we want because it's our will to find what we want. So when what I want and what I want and what I want, which is my will, what I wish to find, how I wish to live, are all in accord with one another, then I'm home free. Now, in our longer practice periods today, you want to begin with the absolute recognition that God's plan or love's plan for your feeling loved and only His is entirely in accord with what you want. So nothing is being thrust upon you. This is not some alien idea that you're being forced to think is a good idea. You already think it's a good idea to feel loved and cared for, and that's all your Creator wants for you. So you have a singular purpose here between Creator and created, so how could you not succeed? This is marvelous news. So after reminding yourself of this very carefully, tell yourself, I will there be light. It's my willingness that there be light. I want to have light and love in my experience. So let me behold this light and love and peace and compassion that reflects God's will and mine. And then let this urge to love, this will, assert itself and feel that sense of coming together. And then put the rest of the practice period under, now listen to this, their guidance. Join with them as they lead the way. all those three pronouns, there, them, and they, have capital T's, representing the overwhelming presence of love. And in the shorter practice periods, again, declare what you really want. I declare I do want light. I do prefer the light. I do choose the light. I will that it be here. Darkness, conflict, hatred, separation, misery is not my will. And then keep repeating this throughout your day, especially if you're tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This is going to help you let go of those problematic grievances because they're the ones in the way. I don't want to hide them. I don't want to think they're a good idea. All I want to do is let them go. So I hope you have a wonderful day today, practicing and knowing all is well. Goodbye for now.